Welcome forward to Jesus' Course in Miracles. This is Chapter 2, page 17. You who consistently complain about fear still persist in creating it. I told you before that you cannot ask me to release you from fear because I know it does not exist, but you do not. If I merely intervened between your thoughts and their results, I would be tampering with the basic law of cause and effect, the most fundamental law there is in this world. I would hardly help if I depreciated the power of your own thinking. This would be in direct opposition to the purpose of this course. It is much more helpful to remind you that you do not guard your thoughts carefully except for a small part of the day, and somewhat inconsistently even then. You may feel at this point that it would take a miracle to enable you to do this, which is perfectly true. Men are not used to miracle thinking or miraculous thinking, but they can be trained to think that way. All miracle workers need that kind of training. I cannot let them leave their minds unguarded, or they will not be able to help me. Miracle working entails a full realization of the power of thought and real avoidance of miscreation. Otherwise, a miracle will be necessary to set the mind itself straight, a circular process which hardly fosters the time collapse for which the miracle was intended, nor would it induce a healthy respect for the true cause and effect which every miracle worker must have. Both miracles and fear come from thoughts, and if you were not free to choose one, you would also not be free to choose the other. By choosing the miracle, you have rejected fear. You have been afraid of God, of me, of yourself, and of practically everyone you know at one time or another. This is because you have misperceived or miscreated us, and believed in what you made. You would never have done this if you were not afraid of your own thoughts. The vulnerable are essentially miscreators because they misperceive creation. You persist in believing that, when you do not consciously watch your mind, it is unmindful. It is time, however, to consider the whole world of the unconscious or unwatched mind. This well may frighten you because it is the source of fear. The unwatched mind is responsible for the whole content of the unconscious, which lies above the miracle level. All psychoanalytical theorists have made some contributions in this connection, but none of them have seen it in its true entirety. They have all made one common error in that they attempt to uncover unconscious content. You cannot understand unconscious activity in these terms because content is applicable only to the more superficial unconscious levels, to which the individual himself contributes. This is the level at which you can readily introduce fear, and usually does. When man miscreates, he is in pain. The cause and effect principle here is temporarily a real expediter. Actually, cause is cause is a term properly belonging to God, and effect, which should be also capitalized, is his Son. This entails a set of cause and effect relationships which are totally different from those which man introduced into his own miscreations. The fundamental opposition and the real basic conflict of creation and miscreation. All fear is implicit in the second, just as all love is inherent in the first. Because of this difference, the basic conflict is one between love and fear. It has already been said that man believes he cannot control fear because he can himself create it. His belief is in, it seems, to render it out of his control by definition. Yet any attempt to resolve the basic conflict through the concept of mastery of fear is meaningless. In fact, it asserts the power of fear by the simple assumption that it need be mastered. The essential resolution rests entirely on the mastery of love. In this, in turn, the sense of conflict is inevitable, since man has placed himself in a strangely illogical position. He believes in the power of what does not exist. Two concepts which cannot coexist are nothing and everything. To whatever extent one is believed in, the other has been denied. In the conflict, fear is really nothing, and love is everything. This is because whenever light enters darkness, the darkness is abolished. When man believes is true for him, in this sense the separation has occurred, and to deny this is merely to misuse denial. However, to concentrate on error is merely a further misuse of defenses. The true corrective procedure is to recognize error temporarily, but only at an indication that immediate correction is mandatory. This establishes a state of mind in which the atonement can be accepted without delay. It should be emphasized, however, that ultimately there is no compromise possible between everything and nothing. Time is essentially a device by which all compromise this respect can be given up. It seems to be abolished by degrees because time itself involves the concept of intervals which do not really exist. The faulty use of creation made this necessary as a corrective device. And God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Needs only one slight correction to be entirely meaningful in this content. It should read, I gave it to his only begotten Son. It should especially be noted that God has only one Son. If all the souls God created are his sons, then every soul must be an integral part of the whole sonship. You do not find the concept that the whole is greater than its part difficult to understand. You should, therefore, not have too much trouble understanding this. The sonship is its oneness, does transcend the sum of its parts. However, this is obscured as long as any of its parts are missing. That is why the conflict cannot ultimately be resolved until all the parts of the sonship have returned. Only then can meaning of wholeness in true sense be fully understood. And thus ends page 17.